Hello, this is Dina with Pretty Productive. We're a mother and daughter Etsy shop that produces budget kits as well as planner accessories or anything to be more productive and to stay on budget. Today we're going to be doing the October setup and we're using the Erin Condren Deluxe Monthly in the 7x9 size. So we're going to go ahead. I've already laid down the stickers just so that the video will be a little bit shorter because it takes me a while. This is a kit, so this is a kit that we have in our shop. It comes with 8 of the thin washi, the headers, the budget strips, and then 6 of the thick washi for the top part. You can buy the sheets individually, but you can also buy it as a kit for a reduced amount. So this is the kit we're going to be using for October. So before I start doing my budget or doing my cash envelopes, I lay it all out on a sheet, and this is what I call my work in progress. I do use the erasable pens, the friction. I've used these for years. I don't know how anybody uses anything else personally. So I take our paychecks and I divide it by 3. I get paid monthly. My husband gets paid every other week. So I just budget for the 3 checks and divide it. And then I have extras here. I do work from home. My company does pay some of my expenses as well as my car and my car expenses. So there's things in my budget that you won't see that may be in your budget. Before we get started, I want to preface this video with saying budgeting is very personal. You want to do what's best for you, your family, this time in your life, and your financial situation. At this time in my life, we are empty nesters. My husband and I both work full-time. He is getting very close to retirement, so we're going to be working on more of a fixed income. So I'm budgeting now for what that income is going to be when he retires in 6 months. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. So the way I lay this out is first I add in all of the income that I'm expecting for the month. I take all of my fixed expenses, so fixed expenses, things like mortgage, cell phones, telephone, water, things like that. Now I live in Arizona, so there's 2 of our fixed expenses that vary throughout the year, and that would be our electric bill and then our gas bill. So our electric bill for last month was $520. It was $580 the month before. It's been a super hot September, so I'm planning for that bill to be at least $500 again. I know, I guess it's better to be prepared than to be surprised. And also on our mortgage, we did refinance it so that we are paying extra on it so that we can have that paid off before I will get to retire. Then lifestyle are things that can be revised, that can be go up or down based on the month and what's happening. So these are what I use my cash envelopes for. So I've checked off the ones that I have cash envelopes for. So giving, groceries, eating out, allowance, household, personal care, and recreation. The other ones I call are virtual envelopes, meaning that I leave the money in the account, and then if I need it, great, it's there, and if not, I let it roll over to the next month. And those would be things like clothing. I have a category called reward, which at the rate I'm going, I won't be using any of that for quite some time. And then side hustle, which is our Etsy shop. If we need things, I always keep a cushion in there for supplies or classes that we want to take, anything like that. I have 4 sinking funds. Dentist. Last year I had a lot of dental work done, and it was hard to keep coming up with the money. I had many expenses, root canals, crowns, all kinds of fun things. So this year I decided I was going to have a dentist fund. I am going to have an implant put in probably not until next year, but I'm budgeting for it this year, so the money's there when I'm ready. Gifts. I come from a big family. We have lots of birthdays, lots of celebrations. So I'm constantly feeding this fund for gifts, and that's Christmas and birthdays or baby gifts, anything like that. Vacation. We've taken a couple of really nice vacations over the year. We went to Hawaii. We did a couple other ones. So I've been cash flowing vacations, prepaying as much of it as possible before, and then budgeting for food and transportation, things like that while we were on vacation. And then bills. So I have 3 bills that are kind of recurring throughout the year. Our homeowners is every quarter, our pest control is every quarter, and then I do put money away for both Prime membership, and then I do Backblaze, which is a offsite update for my computer. It's an offsite storage or backup program, and that's due in January, along with my Prime is due in January. So I always like to put some money away so that I'm not surprised about that when those bills come. And then I have 3 debts currently. I did have one, and then I incurred 2 other when we opened the shop. So I have a Barclay card that I pay $1,000 a month for. I want that paid off by December. And currently there is $3,800 on that. And after this October payment, I'll have $2,800. It is an interest-free card. I have an Apple Barclay. We did have to buy some equipment for the shop. So I owe $2,200. I'm paying $200. So the balance will be $2,000. It's also an interest-free. And then I have a Chase card that I run all of our business expenses through. And then when you add up your income and all of your expenses, they need to be the same dollar. If you go by the Dave Ramsey theory of every dollar has a home and every dollar must match, which I believe in that. And then I use the app, the Every Dollar app. I like to see it on paper first, and it's easier for me to revise this as bills come in or things come up that I wasn't expecting than it is for me just to look at it on the app. But I do love the app as well, so it's both programs kind of going at the same time. So this is what we're going to transfer into the planner, and then we're going to do some cash stuffing, and I'll show you how I manage that. So when you listen to Dave Ramsey, if you are a Dave Ramsey fan, he talks about the fact that it's harder to spend cash than it is to swipe a card. And I'm the opposite. I love to spend cash. I'm not as big at swiping a card or a debit card. In fact, I don't even carry my debit card with me. And so what happens is if I take all the cash with me at the beginning of the month, or like for the next 2 weeks, I'll spend it. So what I did when I started doing the cash envelopes is I accumulated enough to start my month with being able to stuff my cash envelopes before the month began, and then that amount rolls into the next month and so forth and so on. So I started with $900, and then what I'll do once I stuff the cash envelopes, I go into the app and I subtract that. So if I put $250 in my grocery fund into my envelope, then I'll take $250 off of the app into my grocery category. So I'll kind of just explain that system. It works really well for me. Maybe a different system works for you, but I think it's what I love so much about this community on YouTube is I've learned tips and techniques from every single person I watch, and I think that's what's so amazing about this community. So let's get started. So for income, I have paycheck number 1, put $3,100. Paycheck number 2, $3,100. Paycheck number 3, $3,100. I have 2 daughters that are grown and out of the house. They have they are on my insurance, car insurance, and my phone bill, so they pay me for those. So I put that money back into the account and put that towards the bills. So one pays $180, the other one pays $200. My company pays for part of my cell phone as well as my office phone, and so as long as I do my expenses on time, they deposit $154 back into my account. So that part's nice. And then for my debt snowball, I kind of spoke about this earlier. Barclay balance right now is $3,800. I make $1,000 payment. And the reason why I've kept this at $1,000 is I wanted to make sure that everything was paid off before any interest would accrue. Interest wouldn't start accruing until 2020, but I made a vow to pay it off by 2019, so I'll have this paid off before January. And then Barclay Apple. The balance is $2,200. I'm paying $200, and then it'll be $2,000. This is also an interest-free card. This has been paid off for a long time. Then we needed to buy a computer and an iPad when we started the business, so I went ahead and did that, but I made sure it was on an interest-free card, and that'll be paid off long before that would have. And then Chase is what we run all of our business expenses through. So I budget for expenses, but then I also budget so that this card stays down really low. Currently there is $2,200 on it. I'm paying $800. So let's see if we can do math here. So it'll be $1,600. Yeah, $1,600. That will be paid off by, I think February is what I said. This won't have interest until April, but I know that if you listen to Dave Ramsey, it doesn't matter about the interest. But for me, I don't want to pay an interest charge on anything. I do have certain fixed expenses that go directly to a Capital One account, and then it just gets paid out of that, and that way I'm not having to remember to pay things. They just get direct billed, and then it just gets paid at the end of the month. So for lifestyle, first is giving. And that one is, oh wait, I'm sorry, that's not fixed. So first would be mortgage. It's $3,200, which I know sounds like a lot, but we did a 15-year and then we're paying extra. So we'll have it paid off in 7. So that will be definitely paid off before I retire, which is fantastic. Groceries, nope. Still going to lifestyle. Cell phone, this is the family plan, which is ridiculous, I know, but what are you gonna do? My office phone, internet, $110. Netflix, very necessary, keeps me sane. Water, trash. In Arizona, this is all one bill. It averages about $150 a month, so that's kind of what I budget. The last 2 months have been $133, so I budgeted $140 this month. I don't know why it went down, honestly. Electric, this is hopefully not going to be $520, but I'd rather be surprised when I see the bill versus scrambling to see where that money was going to come from. Life insurance, car insurance. This is for 3 cars. I have a company vehicle. They pay my insurance, my maintenance, and my gas, which is a nice perk. Natural gas. So we've converted our washer, dryer, water heater, stove to gas, which is so much more cost effective in Arizona than electric. We're kind of slowly going that direction. My HOA is due this month, and that's $219. That's quarterly. So what I do is I take $75 every month, put it into a bill sinking fund, and then I just pull the money out when I get ready to pay that on October 1st. I have 2 different subscriptions. Elements Massage. I am rehabbing from a shoulder injury, so I started doing massage. I'll probably keep that until I'm done, and that's $70 a month. And then Audible, which I love, and that's $16. Then in my lifestyle, the things that do not go into envelopes, I put under this category. So that would be clothing. I am on a weight loss plan, but you would not know that if you looked at my food category lately. I have been so bad. I don't know what that's about. So I'm really not buying clothes right now. I do Stitch Fix, so I know that it would never be more than $200. But I normally don't buy anything. Occasionally they send a box that's just great, so I'd like to have that money in my account in case I do want to buy from that box, or run to Old Navy or something like that. So I do $100 a month. Sometimes I spend it, sometimes I don't. That's why I don't put it in an envelope, because if it's Stitch Fix, I'm going to pay it with my debit card. So I just leave that into the account and just kind of earmark it separately. Let's see, medical copays. I've been doing $90 a week for physical therapy, but right now I'm done with physical therapy, so I'm not going to put anything into that. But if I would put this right here. Physical therapy is great, but at $30 3 times a week, it added up really quickly, but I'm not going to put anything this month. And then my side hustle, which is the Etsy shop, I plan $200. And then for sinking funds, I have dentist. I currently have $1,540. I'm not going to add to it this month because I've got birthdays from September and October. I'm not going to use anything, so the balance will be $1,540. So I have a credit union, and you can separate your savings account into savings goals. And it looks like one number, but then when you go under your savings goals, it separates each account out. So you can put your goal in, and it keeps the money separated so that you can see exactly how much is in every fund. And then if you need to use it, you just send it back to your checking account, or you could of course go to the bank and withdraw it. I have found that to be super easy. I know a lot of people will use like a Capital 360. I've just found this is easy. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. It's easy to add to, and it's easy if I need to move it in to use it, to bring it back and forth. So gifts and Christmas. Currently there's $820. I'm going to add $300. It is my daughter's birthday, so that $300 will probably go in and go out. And then I'll leave that done to see what we end up doing for our birthday. Vacation. We were supposed to be in Europe right now, but that got canceled. So I did take my daughter. My daughter was in New York, so we went to a play, and I took that money that we got back from the Airbnb and we spent it. Had a good weekend in New York. I was there for work, so she just joined me. And I'm gonna add 154. So my expenses gets deposited into this account for some reason. I set it up that way. So that 154 that I get back from my expenses will usually go into that. So that is why I kind of just leave it in my vacation fund. And then if I need it, I can always just transfer it out of that fund and put it into my checking account instead of adding it to the fund. And so that means I will have I should have added this up beforehand. 1,093. So I don't have any vacation plans for the month of October. Probably gonna do a road trip in November, but that is not gonna cost that much. And then I have bills, and that's my homeowners, the Backblaze, the storage update, as well as Amazon. I have 191 in there now. I just took out the 218 for my homeowners. I'm going to add 118 because that's what I add every month. And then I will have 309 at the end of this month. And next month will be 90 for pest control, and I just keep rolling that number over. And then for cash envelopes, and I put these in my weekly check-in. So the first one is groceries. Now for groceries, I budget $500 for the month. And again, it's just my husband and I, and occasionally my daughters will be over for dinner, but we usually will go out then. And I take $250 in cash, and I put $250 I leave in the account. I like to do HelloFresh or Instacart. So it's just easier just to have the money there versus taking it out and putting it back and going back and forth. So $250 goes out in cash. And then if mid-month I decide I don't want to do HelloFresh, or I'm, you know, happy with the way it is, I'll go ahead and pull the rest of it out towards the end of the month. Eating out, this is my category that I go over the most. I budget 200. I start with 100, and then mid-month I'll take out the second 100. If I put 200 in there, we'll go out to dinner every night for the 1 week, and then we're done for the month. Giving, I take out 400. Recreation could be movies, anything like that. I do leave part of this in the account because sometimes when we go to the movies, I'll buy the tickets online, so I'm not having to put the money back. So for recreation this month, I gave myself 80. So I'm just gonna put 70 in the envelope, and then I'll leave 10 in the account. I also have an entertainment / reward that I'm going to leave in the account at $100. Personal care. I gave myself 100, but on the budget it's really 170. So 70 is for the massage, then 100 is for manicure, pedicure, haircut, and color, which I did last month. Got a pedicure last month, so I won't have to do it this month. It's also the tip for the massage, which is usually about $20-25. And then I have gifts. And I put 50 of the 300 in the envelope because sometimes, like, I just needed to buy a baby gift for my niece, or my nieces or nephews' kids will have a birthday, so I'll get them something. So if it's a big birthday, like my daughter or my husband or my mom or my dad, then I'll put that in my sinking fund and pull it from there. If it's just going to be like smaller gifts throughout the month, I always keep a little bit of cash just so I'm not having to move money. And then allowance, I give myself $50 a week. So I'm going to start with 100, and then again, I only put 50 in at a time. And then each week I'll just check and see what I did in my envelopes. So what I like about this way of doing it is I think it keeps me really organized, but it also keeps me accountable. I have no problem at all moving money around my envelope. So what I like about the videos is it really forces me to stay on track. And I find that I make so much more progress in my budgeting when I hold myself accountable. Or I should say, you guys hold me accountable. The other thing is I actually really enjoy budgeting, so this is not a chore for me. The hardest thing is I am so much a spender by nature. I love to spend money. I like to treat my kids. I like to go out. I like to do things. I'm not much of a shopper, which is strange because, you know, I work for a cosmetic company, so, you know, it's all about shopping, but I'm just not a shopper. If I'm going to shop, I'm going to go to the Apple store and buy technology. So there we go. And that's much more expensive than shoes or a handbag. Okay, so this is the cash that I took out. I took out 6 $100 bills, 150, 11 20s, 2 10s, and 6 5s. So it's $920 altogether. I do use the Maldron Filofax, and the envelopes fit right inside. These are envelopes that we sell in our shop. This is really our first thing that we did because I was making my own envelopes, and then my daughter's doing cash only, her friends are, so I started making them for them, and then all of a sudden it became kind of a passion project for my daughter and I when she moved out of the house. So we have the envelopes. We sell them in a set of 6. We have different stickers. These are foils. I love the look of foil, but I also like 2 foil. So we have 6 different fonts that you can choose from, and we do up to, I think it is 11 labels, and you can customize your labels as you would like. Now my daughter gets very upset with me because I took envelopes that were not part of sets. So this is not a good representation of what the sets look like. You can see them in our shop. It's pretty. Leave a strip here if you want to hole punch, so you can hole punch it for inside of the planners, but you can also put them in a happy planner, or we can trim that if you would prefer. Each set of envelopes also comes with a double-sided card inside so you can track your expenses. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first one I'm going to do is groceries. I'm gonna fund $100 to start because we just went to the grocery store. So this will all be effective 10/1, but again, I like to stop them early. So I'll put $100 in there. So I write fund $100. My balance is $100. The reason why I like $100 bills versus a lot of smaller bills is I hesitate to spend a $100 bill. If they're 20s, I don't think anything more of adding more in, but I hate to break 100. So it's just the psychology of it. And then for the other $250, I have these, I think it's a company called A Time for Everything. I bought this set from Amazon. It came with this wallet. I think you can buy just the dividers. I think it came in a set of 6. And I just used my labeler to put them on here. And so this is where I put the money if it's before the month is, or I'm gonna refill my envelopes from this. So I'm gonna take $150, put it under the grocery tab, and this will stay at home. And that way if my husband wants to grab money or, you know, if I don't have it with me, I can't spend it. And then after 2 weeks, I'll fill up the envelope again from that. So this one's ready to go back in. The second one is allowance. So I give myself $50 a week. So I kind of do the same thing as I just did with groceries. I put 50 in my envelope and I put 50 at home. That way I don't spend it all and it's there for the next week or the next week. So for this one, this envelope actually fits into my Kate Spade wallet. So I just take this, if I'm not always having this with me, I normally have this in my purse, but sometimes I just grab my wallet and this fits right inside there. That way I keep separate from any other cash that I have in my wallet. Once I stuff my envelopes, then I go back to the app and I subtract these amounts from my budget for October. And I just put stuff envelope, and then that's the reason or the vendor. And then that way I know I'm not spending over the $500 even though I'm stuffing them early before I get paid. Next is eating out. I'm gonna put 100 in, and I didn't even take the other 100 out. It's still in the account. I have literally spent the entire $200 in the first week of the month, gone out every night that week. So I can't do that anymore. And I find that when my husband's working or traveling, I eat like a 10-year-old. So Sonic, Taco Bell. And I know I said earlier in the video, I was on a weight loss journey, but it was not. It was a weight gain journey. So I am trying to be much better about this. Won't need to worry about buying new clothes because I'll never get down to the weight I want to be. Second is giving. And I've done giving many different ways. I've done giving where I go online and give, or I write a check. I do like to use cash because I do balance my checkbook every week and sometimes waiting for checks to come through. Got to remember to add them back in. And then I just use an envelope that has my information because for our year-end giving statement. So 100 goes in here, 100 will go under giving, and that will go in here for the next week. Personal care, I'm giving myself 40 of the 100 that I budgeted, and that's because the only thing I need right now will be the tip for the massage. I have giving on the mind now. I'm going to do 20 and then 20. Then I'll take the balance out the next time my husband gets paid when I stuff cash envelopes again. And then for gifts, I'm going to, well, I was going to do 50. We'll do 50. Okay, then recreation. Okay, somehow I broke this up differently. Okay, we'll just go with this. So I'll just go ahead and put the whole 80 in, and if I need to move it back, I can. My husband's traveling again in October, so probably won't be a lot of recreation unless I go do stuff with my sisters or friends. And then this was actually goes to household. So I do have somebody who comes in and helps out in the house. I started when all the kids were home, and then when I had my injury, it was a little harder, so I'm just gonna keep her employed. And so I put that into the envelope, and then it's here at the house if she comes when I am not here. So it goes like that, and then it slips right inside here. And then I do have other tabs in here. So occasionally special things like Christmas or gifts where I am, you know, needing cash and not wanting to, you know, take it out multiple times. I'll go ahead and use this so that some of the money stays at home and some of the money goes with me. Then these are all stuffed and ready to go back in. They fit right inside here. I also use a check register, and I know that that sounds really weird, and my children do not even know what a check register is because they don't write checks, but to me, a check register helps me to stay on track on what needs to come out of each check. So I write the check down and then everything that's going to come out of that. What I'm going to take out of that check for cash envelopes, what is going to be a direct bill like our mortgage or utilities. And then that way I don't ever wonder, did I forget to pay something, or what check is there, or feel like, oh, I have all this extra money when I really don't, because something is going to come out of that. And then that's where carryover comes over. So sometimes at the end of the month, things that I thought, say my electric bill, I budgeted $520 and it really comes in at $350. That money rolls into the next month, or I can roll it into debt. So that just kind of keeps me super on track with what bills are coming out of each check and what we paid and when we paid it. So that is cash envelope stuffing for October, and we will be back with a weekly check-in at the end of next week. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let us know below in the comments. If you like this video or you like this way of budgeting, please subscribe. Productive.